Before we go any further, like you said, the banks are the major culprits today, and that's after PNB noted a fraud of almost $1.7 billion, 30% of its market capitalization. This is the first government reaction that's coming in.
We can't be promoting not only financial inclusion, but even the basic banking and financial transactions of the population. So there has to be a BC industry which will be the intermediaries between the formal financial institutions like banks and the public. So about the future or the logic of having these intermediaries, the BC industries, there can't be any doubt. The viability part of it, also how this can be made viable, this is what is being discussed inside the hall, outside the hall as well. So what was mentioned here, that there should be interoperable BCs, they should have a wider bouquet of services to offer which will add to their own viability as well as to the convenience for the public. I see that coming through in future. But even today, actually our own assessments that we do have figures which are at slight variance. So with the help of the banks, because banks pay the BCs in some way or the other, we have been making regular assessments, and what we have been informed through those exercises is that nearly 70% of the BCs have an income of...
Well, there you go. That's the first reaction that is coming in from the government on the reported fraud at Punjab National Bank, PNB, a $1.77 billion fraud via transaction. That's 30% of the bank's market capitalization. Let me go across to Neha Bothra for this story. Neha, we've heard what the government has had to say, that the necessary steps will be taken in this fraud, which is related to transactions. What exactly is it that we know when it comes to the PNB fraud? And when was this that it took place?
It's indeed a worrisome Wednesday for Punjab National Bank stakeholders. A double whammy. On one hand, you have the new NPA rules, and now you have this disclosure of a fraudulent transaction worth about 11,400 crore that has come to light. Clearly, it's battered the stock in trade today. More importantly, there are lots of questions that are unanswered. One is, when did the transactions take place, and what was the time gap between the transaction taking place and it being reported? Because clearly 11,400 crore is a pretty large sum of amount, and I've been speaking with insiders of the bank who are not sure if this panned out over a couple of months or if it was something that was one big transaction. And more importantly, I'd like to draw your attention to an important point in the disclosure, which says that this transaction also influenced other banks to extend money to the concerned parties overseas. So this raises a big question: if there are more banks involved, and what really is the total amount of fraud we are talking about? These are all important questions that show gaping holes as far as the entire corporate governance in the bank is concerned, because as per the laws, once such a transaction takes place, it has to be alerted, the system has to be alerted, but clearly there have been lapses which have contributed to this scale of fraud at Punjab National Bank. We still await more clarity. But of course, the matter has been referred to investigative agencies who are now looking into the matter. But there are lots of unanswered questions, and these are the questions that Punjab National Bank will have to answer sooner than later.